People living virtual lives. More important to merchants, shopping and buying things in a virtual world.
I like to think about this story that I had from way back in 1992 when somebody introduced the internet to me for the first time. And the friend of mine who showed it to me said, this is going to be everything. This is going to connect everybody. You're going to be on this thing all the time. And I couldn't conceive of it. Well, that's the nature of the future. None of us can really fully imagine ourselves in it.
Among the largest of these worlds is Second Life, a place where people and companies build their presence inside a computer network, where virtual real estate costs real money.
Land is a great metaphor because everybody understands it. However, the entire dynamic of the system is not similar to real estate, right? I mean, what they're saying about real estate is true. They're not making any more of it. Second Life, virtual worlds in general, it's server capacity. And we'll keep making more as long as people keep making servers for us to put up.
I've been excited for many years about the idea of technology that has grown through video games being used for things that are not games, and saw virtual worlds as a new communication medium. We've seen with video on the web, it's the same thing you could get on television in a lot of ways. But now what we see, in a way, virtual worlds are actually interactive television. And talking about interactive television for 20 years, the most we've really gotten are voting on American Idol.
Unlike American Idol, Second Life doesn't take us all to some TV studio, but to a place that doesn't even exist.
Here, what we can do is you're in an environment, you're living it, you're moving around, you're helping make it. Virtual worlds are the first communication medium that allows people to feel like they're in a place together and to interact with that place, cooperatively, competitively, or just meeting each other. It's in its very early stages. Most of the great applications for it haven't been built yet. And it's hard to use, hard to learn. It's like 1994 on the web. This has a potential to be very, very important for retail. In fact, I certainly predict that 5 years from today, we'll see more retail sales to consumers through virtual worlds than on the web.
So is the virtual you ready to try on a pair of virtual pants? We may never have to find a parking place at the mall again.
Right now, there are almost 1 billion people interacting in a computed environment through the internet, mostly through websites, through email. It's a very flat, two-dimensional experience. And so this is so much at the beginning of this company, this industry's history, that it's really just the start, and we have to imagine another decade or so before we really see where this thing can go.
Sometimes the ingredients for success boil down to simply 3 things: the right person, the right technology, the right time. Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Bill Gates. They may not have invented the technologies they employed, but each knew how to capitalize on it. And the rewards for success can be quite impressive. Young George Eastman was an industry builder like those others. His technology was one he first bought in 1877, the still photo camera. Eastman liked what he saw and set out to make it even better. After some experimentation, he created rollable film, an alternative to delicate plate glass negatives. By 1888, Eastman needed a cool name for a new camera he'd created that would eventually become the name of his company. The Eastman Dry Plate and Film Company didn't have a great ring to it, so the name he just made up was Kodak. With the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," the first camera Kodak sold could shoot 100 exposures, but at $25 apiece plus film developing costs, it was only for the very wealthy. What really made Kodak a huge success was the Brownie. At only $1 in 1900, it made photography affordable for everyone. And for the next 75 years, physical film was the only way people had for capturing their visual memories. What occurred in the late 20th century was a transformation that would completely change the way we take photographs. Engineer Steve Sasson was given an assignment by his bosses to make a radically new kind of camera. Who did he work for? Not Nikon or Canon, not even Sony.
I joined an apparatus division research laboratory inside of Eastman Kodak Company in 1973, and in 1974, probably late 74, my supervisor, Gareth Lloyd, came to me and asked if I would do some experiments with a new type of device called a charge-coupled device. And it was a sort of a solid-state form imager. And they were very crude, and they were just becoming available. And so decided to take a digital approach.
What young Steve Sasson invented was the very first digital camera, capturing images with 10,000 pixels. That's 0.01 megapixels. His new invention was years ahead of its time. Photographs could now be represented by ones and zeros, digital information. So this is your invention, Steve?
Yeah, Bob, we keep it in this case because we transport it around to show different people. The camera itself is kind of big.
Kind of big?
Yeah. It weighs 8.5 pounds. Clearly, you wouldn't confuse it for a camera like today.
Oh, I would, of course. Yes.
but it has all the basic attributes of a digital camera. And the electronics. We did many demonstrations throughout 1976. First, I entitled it "Filmless Photography," which perhaps was a bad choice of title back then, but it got people interested. And what I'd do is I'd come in and I'd take a picture of somebody right away, and then I'd tell a little bit about what was happening, what this thing was. And then really lots of questions, which, to be honest with you, I had no answer for. I mean,